when you ask people what's a Jew, people really don't know what a Jew is. People really don't understand what a Jew is. They think a Jew is maybe somebody that wears a certain type of clothes, or maybe a certain person that eats certain types of food, or maybe a certain person that knows certain languages. But that's actually not what makes a Jew. One of the Gdolim in the world of Chassidut was Rabbi Tzvi Elimelech Spira DINOV. He wrote a sefer that no matter what kind of Chassid you are, if you're a normal type of Chassid, this is like almost like your Torah of Chassidut, called Bnei Sachar, almost a little over 200 years ago. Now, Rabbi Tzvi Elimelech Spira DINOV, one time on a Friday night, he had all of his Hasidim with him. They already did Kabbalat Shabbat, and they were having the arucha, they were having the meal. Suddenly, some messy, disaster-looking, drunk, smelly villager walks into the Bet Midrash. Some of the Hasidim figured he got the wrong address. But the Rebbe sees him, leaves all of his Hasidim, stands up, runs towards him in the front, and hugs him. Come, sit. In those days, Hasidim, they have big kavod for their Rebbes. Big kavod for their Rebbes. Still today. See, this guy is bringing him, this smelly, drunk-looking guy. Everybody automatically has some thoughts. Maybe this guy's Eliyahu Navi. Eliyahu Navi, it's known that Eliyahu Navi, when he comes to this world, and he doesn't come as Eliyahu Navi with the wings and everything. He comes sometimes as a homeless person. He comes sometimes as some soldier. All types of stories we heard in the Torah. So people are saying, definitely it's Eliyahu Navi. But then they see the Rebbe taking him and he's sitting him right next to him. Right next to him. And he gives him half of his food. And he's protecting him. No one's talking to him. And he's talking to him. And he's taking care of him. And he's feeding him. And this guy's getting kavod. He's like, no, maybe this guy's Malach. This is Michael himself. Malach Michael. This is Malach of Am Yisrael. Has to be Gabriel, Raphael, somebody. The whole Shabbat, he's right next to him. Right next to him the whole time. He's not moving. After, he gives him his bed. Sleep in the bed. He gives him his clothes. This villager is wearing the Rebbe's clothes now. Everyone's baffled. One guy figured, you know what? Maybe he's not Eliyahu Navi, maybe he's not Malach, but for sure he's one of the hidden tzaddikim of the generation. Has to be. After Shabbat is over, he comes to the Rebbe. He says, Kvod Rav, I just wanted to thank you for showing us the big secret that was right in front of us, sitting among us. One of the biggest hidden tzaddikim of the generation. Thank you, Kvod Rav, for showing them to us. Rav Tzvi Elimelech starts smiling and giggling. He says, no, let me tell you a story. He said, years ago, I wasn't so famous. When I was young, I wasn't so famous. And when I would go to different places, people wouldn't know who I was. And I would make it so that I would go visit one of the Gdolei Ador, the Chozemi Lublin. I would go visit him. And on one of my journeys to go visit him, in the middle of the journey, move the things, you could sit here. One of my journeys, it started snowing, snowstorm. I said, Bezat Hashem, because I'm on a mitzvah, on a journey of mitzvah, mitzvah is going to protect me. I kept going and going and going, but the snow wasn't stopping. And all of a sudden, my legs started to lose feeling. I fall over. I couldn't move my legs anymore. As I fell over, I saw that there's a light right behind the woods. Right behind, there's some trees over there. There's a village, and I saw a light. I couldn't get up, so I said, I'll roll myself there. And I rolled myself little by little And I got to the village, and as Hashem would have it, Baruch Hashem, the first house I got to, I saw there's a mezuzah on the door. I said, Baruch Hashem. I got myself up, I knocked on the door, and this villager opens the door, and he had a Tisha B'Av face on him. He wasn't happy to see me. And I said, dear Jew, have some mercy. Please, please, let me inside. It's snowing outside, please. The villager looks at me, says, no. Pach! Closes the door in my face. I knew that if I'm not going to become a chutzpan and push my way in, this is going to be my last night. So I knocked again. The villager opens the door again. His face is even nastier than before. I said, please, dear Jew, help me. I'm going to die outside. He says to me, listen, I don't have time for people like you. This is not a hotel. I have a barn for my horses. I have a tool shed. And I have the food for the animals. Pick one of those places, you could sleep over there. But inside my house, you're not coming in. What choice did I have? I rolled myself into the barn. The smell was so bad, I couldn't. I went to the tool shed, but there was no room. Simply no room. Where the food was for the animals, there was barely any room, and it didn't smell so good, but it was better than the horses. So I said, what's my choices? I'll go over there. And I spent the night over there, but it was so cold, I could not sleep the whole night. For a second, I was freezing. And I saw to myself, what am I going to do? I'm cold, I can't sleep. You know what? Let's learn Torah. Let's learn Torah, that's what we're going to do. So I started crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and then I started learning Torah. But because I was suffering in so much pain and agony from the cold and the journey itself, this was the type of Torah that came with Mesirut Nefesh, with major sacrifice. There's a Torah that you learn while you're drinking a nice cup of coffee, nice tea with some popcorn on the side, maybe a cookie, maybe a steak for some people, and then there's real Torah. Torah that you study with Mesirut Nefesh, with sacrifice. And that's the Torah that I learned. And he says, because I learned this Torah throughout that night, suddenly all types of heavenly secrets were opened up. The heavens opened to me during that night, and I started discovering all types of secrets, powerful, mystical things that I never had my whole life, that I still have to this day. So the Chassid says to the Rebbe, goes, Rebbe, so what does it have to do with this drunk that came here? He says, he was my host. He goes, Kvod Rabbi, you should have told us he's a host. We would have taken care of this guy. A couple of big Hasidim that had a couple of children would take. He goes, no, chas v'shalom. I owe him a big gratitude to this guy. What gratitude? He let you almost die outside. He goes, no. Only because of him that was I able to raise my neshama to such a high level and learn pure Torah with Mesirut Nefesh. Or else I would have never received those secrets from Shamayim. I owe him a great gratitude for doing what he did. That is the difference between a Jewish story and a non-Jewish story. A Jewish story, you learn, what can I learn from that story? The Jew will always say, okay, Holocaust, what could I learn from there? This terrible situation that happened to the Rebbe over here, what could he learn from there? All types of stories, what could I learn from it in order to apply it to my life? Non-Jewish stories, what's in it for me? How much money can this story make me? What can I sell it for? Can I write a book about the story and sell it on ArtScroll maybe? On Amazon? On something? Not to compare the two, but you get the point. The reality is, Rabotai Karim, a Jewish story is a story that you learn something from. That's what makes you a Jew. if you're only going to look for things based on your benefit, that's not a Jewish behavior. But then you're going to say, wait a minute, the perception that the Goyim have of us is quite the opposite. The perception that the Goyim have of Jews is the exact opposite of what I just said. The Goyim look at the Jews, they make all these caricatures of Jews. They're all money hungry, they're always involved in all these businesses and banking and lending and in this and that. They're always behind everything. They always have a benefit in something, whether it's the government or it's missiles or it's weapons or it's this. Why do you think that is? That's because their perception of Jews is their perceptions of non-religious Jews. Their perception of Jews is of Jews that don't act like Jews, even if they look religious sometimes. They may have the payas, they may have the hats, they may not, but nonetheless, they're not acting Jewish. It's time for us to start acting Jewish, publicly, privately, proudly, and unapologetically.